Okay, well, welcome everybody. Today is a fun day because we get to bring in a bunch of our friends from other programs. So we've got people here from Ad Team and AHA. So welcome everyone. And do we want to just kick it off with some intros from maybe Ad Team? Do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Maren Nielsen. I'm going to be the account director for next year for Ad Team, and we're really excited to be here. Gigi, do you want to go?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Gigi and I'm the project manager for Ad Team.
Who wants to take it away for AHA?
I mean, yeah, what's up? I'm running solo today and just this beautiful Thursday. We're she, her. I'm the current copywriter director of AHA, and my successor is not here today, but you will see her around. Happy to see all your faces. I feel like I'm lagging. Am I lagging?
Mine is too. I don't know. I'm freezing every second.
Okay.
Well, thank you guys so much. Does anyone have any questions they wanted to start it off with, or would you guys like to just go ahead and give a little intro about what AHA does and what Ad Team does?
Yeah, for sure. I can start really fast. So hi, Alan. Should I run it back?
Frozen. Let's start again.
I'm gonna switch Wi-Fi. So give me like a moment for this technical difficulty, and I'm gonna pass the mic to Ad Team. One moment.
Collaboration.
So just talking about what Ad Team does during the year. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I was reading the question in the chat, but yeah, just talking about what you guys do, maybe how your teams are made up and all that.
Yeah. So we have 5 specialties, and Gigi, feel free to jump in as well. We have 5 specialties within Ad Team as well as our management team. And every year we get a client, usually in the fall, and we then spend all year focusing on crafting a really detailed campaign for our assigned client given by AAF and the NSAC. And then we go to competition in the spring and we present to judges, we go to regionals, and then if we win regionals, nationals. We are able to work on a very close-knit team and be able to really focus in depth on a specific client, which is what I think differentiates Ad Team from AHA.
Amazing, thank you. Matt, you want to try take 2?
Yeah, I switched Wi-Fi. I think it should be better. Does it sound better? Cool. Awesome. Thank you. Stop me on my fucking tracks if I just terminate or engage again. But Allen Hall Advertising, basically the SJC's in-house ad agency. And so instead of working with one client all year long, we work with multiple local Eugene clients and also some national ones thrown in there. You may have seen work like women's basketball the past few years, and that comes directly out of there. But we also have some pretty amazing ones like Keep Athletic Shorts. We have some people on that team in this room right now. USA Facts, national nonprofit, all kinds of stuff. So pretty versatile, pretty diverse, and all of our concentrations and positions fall under a typical ad agency structure. So we have account managers, project managers, strategists, creative, which is art directors, designers, copywriters, and then producers. And I feel like I'm missing something because I was totally off the top of my head. But all work together to create cool shit, and that's us. Thanks for the heart, Liz.
I feel like I'm missing out. I haven't updated my Zoom, so I can't see any of the new emojis. I don't ever know what's going on, but here we are. Well, does anyone have any questions to kick it off? This is really just for like everyone to come in and ask about their application process, about maybe more information about the different teams.
I had a question. Oh, Molly, go ahead. You
Okay,
go.
I'll go real fast. So I was curious what type of a person thrives in AHA and ad team, and then also what skills you guys are looking for and we should be focusing on developing if we want to get into the respective clubs.
Very good question. I'm just gonna keep unmuting unless anyone wants to go before me. So please do. I've just been in after hours for so long, I'm used to it. But I would say for AHA, the type of person that would thrive in that environment is someone who embraces a fast-paced workflow and also top of the day type of change, like anything in your account could change at any point, and being able to pivot and collaborate with the team, be versatile in many different positions and skills while also honing into the skills that you're most interested in with that position is probably number one, because there's always ability and opportunity to switch between accounts, to even shadow other positions, to really hone in on your interests no matter what they are. And I feel like I missed the second half of your second question.
I was just curious, like what skills and qualifications you look for in applications.
Yeah, definitely. We personally hire anyone from any school. You don't have to be a part of the SJC to be a part of AHA. We are specifically trying to bury roots a little bit within like the business school and the design school and other elements of things that could also be interested in advertising or just creative collaboration in general. So I'd say if you're an ad student, which Molly, I know you personally, taking creative strat is just like the preliminary requirement, just to understand like the basis of positional elements and what advertising is, what the culture and industry are like. And then outside of that, the ability to justify your work and what you're interested in is just the basic. If you want to be a strategist, being able to tell people why you like research instead of just saying you can Google is definitely a strong suit, because I can Google, but I cannot for the life of me research at all. Still get a degree, but just understanding what kind of sets you apart and owning that. And that's all. I'll pass the mic so I don't monologue forever.
Thanks, Maddie.
So my short answer for you is diverse thinking and dedication. Because ad team is a year-long process, we are looking for people who are going to be in it for the long haul and have that dedication to carry through all year long. To then get into like kind of the nitty-gritty, we state on our application like kind of general stuff like classes you've been taking, like creative strat and stuff like that. We would love to see people taking specialty courses in either their determined specialty as well as others if they so choose. But when it comes down to it, diverse thinking and dedication. Gigi, do you have anything to add? And I'm so sorry if you can hear a cat meowing in the background. I have a cat.
Yeah, I mean, my answer is pretty similar to Marin, but just the word that comes to mind for me is really passion. Like Marin said, it's a year-long project and you're really like diving deep with one client, getting to know everything about them. So just like being able to get excited about that and not let it wear out on you, because there's always more to learn, always more to do. So just, yeah, having that passion and excitement.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. That makes it a lot clearer.
I think we had a question in the chat. Wait, Taylor, you had a question, right?
Oh yeah, I had a question for ad team. I was just curious, like what type of clients you guys work with, and also like what type of projects you work on within those clients. Because I know we heard some from AHA, so I was curious what your guys's were.
Yeah, so this last year, our client was Tinder. The year before that, it was Adobe. We've also done work for Ocean Spray, Wiener Schnitzel, among others. Every year, we get assigned a singular client that we work on all year alongside 200 plus other schools nationwide. And we're all crafting what we think is the best campaign for the client. Was there another part to your question?
No, I mean, you basically answered that you were just kind of like work. So you guys basically just do one campaign all year instead of like multiple different projects.
Yeah, and so, and what aspects of the campaign do we do? We usually do a very holistic campaign. So we're doing media, we're doing experiential, we're doing a bunch of different things. So it's a very holistic campaign and we focus on one client.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I would also just add on, I mean, Maren basically covered it, but like she said, each year it's a different client and we don't know what that client's going to be until the AAF tells it to us. But so like this year when we did Tinder and like the stuff we made for them was very different from what they did for like Adobe, because Tinder and Adobe are probably like the most opposite you can get for clients. But that's kind of like what's fun about it, is you're just like thrown in and you get to work and create your own take on the client and what you think they would like best.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I saw that there was a question in the chat from Bella saying like, are there going to be follow-up interviews after you read the applications? I know this is like the first year it's a joint application. So like, how is this process going to be different this year?
So, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you please.
Okay, so after speaking with Tom McDonald and Ewald, they decided to do a joint application to make it easier on people applying, just so there aren't like the same question you're answering twice, kind of. What's then going to happen is there's a question on the application where you select if you're applying for both organizations or one or the other. People applying for one or the other will immediately then be considered for just one organization or the other, obviously. And then people who are applying for both, people are going to interview for each. And then we're kind of going to not in a bad way, but fight over you a little bit. And essentially it's going to come down to a bit of what we're referring to as a draft. And yeah, we're going to do a little sports draft with y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. Just echoing that. My current position will be ending very soon because coincidentally enough, we just hired a new team of directors for the 2021-2022 academic year who are fully prepared to go through these applications and interview all you talented, lovely people. I can do a top secret little introduction to them because many of them are in this room right now if they would like, but I can also save it. So
Spill the tea.
Should we do it? I need like one nod from you top secret CIA people. Okay. Miss Kate Thompson, her square down there, she's going to be the new strategy director. Miss Natalie is going to be the new art director, and Mr. Evan Harvey is going to be the new production director. And I believe that's all we have here. So claps and confetti all around. I can only speak to my process from last year for applications, which obviously this is a new innovative function with the joint app, and we're very excited about it. So I'm just echoing everything that Ad Team has spoken on.
I have a question for you both. So I don't know if any of the people here attended last year's workshop, but something that was super helpful to me when I was going through the application process was they explained it last year as AHA being a more agency experience and Ad Team being a more in-house experience. Because in a lot of our classes, we kind of learn about the difference and you figure out which you might want to go into. I kind of would love to hear how accurate you guys think that is, why you think that makes you special, and why that's kind of an asset that's the way it's organized for both different sides.
Definitely. I can follow that up real fast with a short answer. I, from my perspective, which is just one very narrow lens, can agree to an extent that that is similar. I think both organizations give you very different industry insight and experience in positive ways. And there is no right answer because both are equally as fantastic and giving. So whatever your gut feeling tells you is what I would suggest and recommend, because you will find skill development and amazing connections no matter which one you choose.
Kind of going off that question, why did you guys pick your respective teams?
Here, real fast, I'm gonna see, Marin and Gigi, do you guys have anything to add on the in-house versus agency type vibe?
I totally agree with what Maddie said. I think the reason ad team kind of gets compared to an in-house process is just because we get so intimate with a singular client, but internally we always refer to ourselves as an agency experience. And I think just the fact that it's all year, it's a longer campaign period, and yeah, that we're focusing on a singular client is just the differentiating factor.
Yeah, I mean, also to add to, I think what Molly was kind of getting at with why you chose your position or whatever, I would say that the really cool thing that I've experienced with ad team is really getting to see what each specialty does. And I will like preface this with I'm doing project management for ad team, but that's not what I want to do in like the long run. I'm focusing more on art direction design, which is actually Marin as well. But I've gotten to come in and do project management and really see what each specialty needs, how their timeline works, which I think has made me a better art director and designer as well as a project manager, because I've really been able to see how everyone works together and how I can help those specialties in any way they need. And it's just really allowed me to see like how a campaign grows. I think with ad classes, a lot of the times you can get stuck in like you're doing everything yourself, but with ad team, I've gotten to work with so many people that are like specializing just in that one thing, and like seeing the amount of time strategy puts into the strategy part is crazy and really awesome. So yeah, that was kind of long-winded, but hope that helped.
I have a quick question. Sorry to put you on the spot, Nicole, but I know you're involved in both organizations. And also I was just wondering if that is even going to be a possibility this year. And also like what it's like being in both, because I feel like that's a unique perspective also.
I can't speak to whether people can do both next year, but doing both this year was a really valuable experience for me. Just in like the main thing I feel like I got out of it is that I got to meet so many other people in the ad program, which is like the reason I joined both. So I got to just meet so many people and make new connections and new friends, which is really awesome. And then yeah, having that kind of difference in experience where in AHA, I'm working with a really small team of really diverse specialties. So I'm working really closely with the copyright. I'm an art director in ad team and AHA. So in AHA, I work really closely with other creatives like Evan and Natalie and Miles, and then also with like our project managers and our media planners and stuff. And then for ad team, we work more, at least this is the way I did it over Zoom, so I don't know how it would work in a non-Zoom environment, but I worked more directly with the other art directors, and all the art directors, there was like 10 of us, we would all work together more directly, and then we would work more specialty by specialty. So that was kind of the main difference that I noticed. I definitely think if doing both is an option, you want to be like me, where those were the only 2 classes I was taking winter term, and I still feel like I had a very full plate. So that's just something to keep in mind too. But both of them were super worthwhile, huge learning experiences, and I would highly recommend both.
I kind of had like an oddly specific question for both of you. I was kind of wondering, in terms of like passion projects that people may have, how does that sort of carry over into like what you guys stand for? Like if during an interview, what questions would you ask to allow someone to talk about that maybe? That like a passion project that maybe relates to advertising, or like what would you look for in terms of that?
So to first address what Nicole and Miles were talking about with doing both, I just wanted to address this. We have talked about if we're going to let people do both, and the short answer is no. However, this can possibly be discussed on an individual case basis. But just so everyone knows, like that's not going to be something that we are going to really be offering, just because we want to preserve everyone's workload and make sure an individual doesn't get burned out going between the two. And whole ass one thing, don't half-ass two things. Not saying anyone was half-assing anything. But then going to, sorry, Keely's question. As far as passion projects go, we haven't discussed what our interview process is exactly going to look like quite yet, but I think talking about just like, where did you get this idea? Like, what sparked this idea for you? Like, what was the process like for your passion projects? So just like, we're going to look at people's portfolios and devise questions off of that.
I think we're
I would
gonna
also, oh, sorry, Mo.
oh, yeah.
I would also just add that like anything that like lets you be creative and like have that creative outlet is going to give you like experience and something to talk about and something that you can put into any project you do. So, and I think just like being able to talk about that and have that passion is really awesome, and definitely we'll get it in interviews somewhere. So
Yeah, just like passion projects, that is experience. Like, we're looking at that as experience. You're doing work for a passion project. So yeah, that's how we're looking at it anyway.
All right. Just scouring the chat. Oh, Katie, yep. You wanna say something?
Yeah, I was actually interested. I was asking about like ad team specifically for like the leadership roles. Was it necessary that you had to intern the year before? Or like are other people allowed to have like relevant experience like outside of ad team specifically?
So how ad team is structured is that we primarily hire seniors, because we are a capstone class at the end of the day, but we do have juniors on our team, mainly for the purpose of being interns and then being returners the following year. However, we do line it up so these people will be in the best position possible to be directors. However, it isn't a 100% that those people will be directors the following year, if that makes sense. Like, we're going to do an internal review. However, those who were juniors and interns usually have priority.
I'd also just add that while ad team like typically is made up of majority of seniors, if you're like going to be a junior next year, do not let that stop you from applying. Like, we want to see everyone, we want to talk to everyone, and if you're a junior and you're literally amazing, which I'm sure everyone in this room is, then we're not going to be like, no, sorry, you're a junior, you can't do ad team. So just apply, and yeah, we want to meet you. So
yeah, the historical precedent for hiring juniors has been kind of all over the map. We've had very few juniors to having a team where like half the class was juniors. So there's been varying historical precedents.
From an outside perspective on just general life advice that I've kind of always lived by, apply even if you don't think you're going to get it, because at least they'll remember your name for the next year. You know, show that dedicated interest, no harm going through the process, get those answers out, try it out, get some FaceTime with them, then they'll remember you. And I know both of the programs have hired on people during the year at different points when they need to fill holes. So if they already have you in their back of their head and they're like, okay, maybe this person's grown a little bit more by now, that could be a great way in. So highly recommend it for everything you do. It's worked out well for me to just bother people with my applications. So I wasn't sure, was there any, Maddie, I don't know if that was one that you had to answer on, or should we switch to some chat questions?
Nothing but echoes all around. Happy to switch to chat or anything else.
Wonderful. Okay, I'm gonna awkwardly scroll up in front of all of you guys to see which ones we haven't hit yet.
I think most of the chat questions are getting answered. Oh wait,
Let's see.
Isaac's got one.
Isaac, do you want to read it out, or we are also happy to?
Oh yeah, so I'm just wondering, like, since you guys mentioned about like you guys having experience with working with a client, and I'm just wondering, have you guys have any like conflict with client before, and how do you guys like solve the issue?
Yeah, that's a good question. I can't speak specifically from an AHA and ad team dual enrollment perspective, but in AHA too, you can be on multiple accounts dependent on your bandwidth and skill experience and what you would prefer to do. So if those 2 or even 3 accounts conflict in any way, it's just a matter of acting on your feet in real time, just like you would in a real industry experience, because you have to decide what takes priority and really communicate with your team and their situations as well. So just knowing where you need to be and at what time. It hasn't happened to me specifically before, but I would say that general advice can be applied to any experience or situation. I hope that answers something.
Oh, thank you.
Jumping in with a slightly different perspective on that as well. I've been in AHA this year, and I started as an art director. So kind of similar to what Gigi was saying, you do sort of get a chance to try out positions as well, because for me, for example, I realized super late in the game I wanted to try out production, and the directors were kind enough to put me on a few counts with Evan right there, who will be in charge next year of production, and I got to see what that side would be like. So I think it's really great that both of the programs do kind of give you the room to see other positions, either working with them or by just saying, hey, I'd like to try something new. So even if you're not for sure what you want to do, I definitely would recommend just giving it a shot, because once you're in the room, you can figure it out.
Yeah, another question?
Yeah, this one's more for just ad team in particular, but I know you guys work on the year-long campaign and then it leads to like a big competition at the end of the year. But I was curious to know, like, is the work just hypothetical, or do you ever get to see a rollout of the things you guys create?
So how NSAC and AAF kind of structure their competition, they are essentially employing all 200 schools to solve their problem. So the client owns all the work all the schools produce. So there's been past years that I've heard about where our team doesn't win. However, the client, like a year later, like borrows something from the campaign that we presented. And yeah, so in the chat, just Mo quickly said, what does NSAC and AAF stand for? AAF is the American Advertising Federation, and NSAC is the competition branch under them. Sorry for a quick aside, I just wanted to clarify. But where was I?
You're talking about clients borrowing work, like.
Oh yeah, thank you, Gigi. This is why we are together. But yeah, so they own all of our work, and then whoever wins the NSAC competition, their work is produced by the client. Does that fully answer your question?
That does, thank you.
Sorry for the distraction.
I guess I have another one for AHA in particular now. But you guys deal with multiple clients, and I was curious, do you, like, add it all into the team, do you get to choose what client you want to work for? Are you assigned one? And are you, if you do get assigned one, are you kind of stuck with it? If maybe it's not the most fortunate situations, or do you get to like hop around between different accounts?
Yeah, that's a really great question. Speaking from my director team this year, who there are 6 others of us who couldn't be here today due to another conflict, but we hired the last round of people last spring and took a long time, probably a week total, really evaluating everyone's skill levels, interviews, applications, everything combined to assess where and at which work level they should be on. And each account doesn't determine a different work level itself. It's more just who would work better together when, one, we went to this year knowing it would be virtual, and 2, it would be virtual with complete strangers. So it was a lot of different factors to tackle. But I would say there's absolutely a say in what account you would prefer to be on, but it doesn't absolutely decide that you will be on that one. Your voice is always heard and valued and appreciated. And in that sense too, I know like Mo can even touch on this after I speak, but switching positions is very real and very normalized. And if you're curious about what a designer does, but you are currently a project manager, all you have to do is express that interest, and then we'll set you up with the right meetings and the right people and the right information and resources to help you figure out if that's actually where you want to be. So a lot of flexibility there. that's at least what my team is valued, and I think the next team will as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can speak on that a little bit more just since I did pop around this year, but there's a lot of diverse accounts, which is a really fun factor because there's a lot of different interests you can have. I started out on one account that was probably based more on my application answers, I would say, based off of like what I expressed interest in, what I had experience designing with. And then as I switched to production, I got to have a little bit more leeway with switching positions. It was more of a question like, where can we use you? Which one do you think you have time for? So it's really individualized. And also with both of these organizations, we're all just peers and humans. So I think that if there was ever something where you were uncomfortable working on an account, which all of these clients and accounts on both aren't really anything too extreme that I don't think anyone would ever feel too problematic on, honestly. But if you ever did, we're all just friends at the base of it. So I'm sure that I speak for both organizations that they would be willing to help you find a spot that really worked for you. And I thought I saw one more question in the chat, but I might. Oh, here we go. Okay.
I was gonna say really quick, adding on to that, sorry. I was like someone who kind of asked to be like added onto an account that we got later on in the year, and they let me. And so I think it's also just about like asking for what you want, and there's no guarantee, but if you really want to be involved in a campaign, I doubt they're going to be like, no, sorry. Like we always want more help. Many hands make light work. So yeah.
Yeah, looks like we got another question in the chat from Grace. What makes a portfolio memorable? And other than your work, what will set you apart in an interview?
Good question. I really don't want to talk this often, so I promise I don't have to be the first one to unmute. But what makes a portfolio memorable is reflecting yourself and your personality in it. At least from my perspective, I've done probably a grand total of 200 interviews over the past 365 days, which is just absolutely unreal. But it doesn't matter actually the depth or versatility of the work you do, as long as you show a willingness to put yourself out there and your voice and what you're interested and passionate about. I would also say in an interview, same exact thing, making sure that you are bringing your full self to the table and want to bring your voice specifically to that table, not trying to conform to whatever you think that organization values. And also just asking really good questions is always a standout thing for me. Like, what are you watching on Netflix right now? Or something funny like that.
Totally agreeing with Maddie. I think there's multiple reasons why a portfolio would be memorable. For me, it's just smart thinking and showing you're interested in something. Like Deb always says, like interested and interesting, but like beyond that, just like showing your dedication to the work just because like you had that initiative to like make something. And yeah, that's it for me, really. Gigi, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say quickly that like we're all students, and like I know my portfolio isn't like always exactly how I want it to look, and Mo can speak to this because I text her like once a term when I redo the whole thing. But just like, I mean, like Maddie and Marin said, like putting your personality into it, showing work that you're proud of, and just letting it speak for you. So yeah.
I do have a after hours insider tip for everyone too on portfolios. So something that you should definitely take advantage of is there's past websites for both AHA and the different New York trips. So in case anyone doesn't know, the school normally does a New York trip for mainly seniors, their senior year. And you get to go and talk to different agencies and whatever. But what they do is make a website where they put all the portfolios up. So you can Google UO, and there it is, already in the chat. I love our interns. So you can go on that website, you can go on past AHA websites or even the current one just to see. I'm not sure if Ad Team has past portfolios available, but I'm sure you could do some stalking. It's pretty easy to find people on LinkedIn and then their book. But I would really recommend just looking through and seeing what kind of work are people doing in the positions that you're looking for. Where are they pushing themselves? What softwares are they focused on? How are they showing their work? Not in a copying way, but just kind of learn the format, because portfolios are a whole nother beast, and kind of getting some help by seeing what others have done can be really helpful.
I have a quick question. So I know there's like certain skills that by default what you gain from your respective teams, but what, if you can think of one, is like an unconventional skill or something that you took away from your teams that you didn't expect to learn?
Fabulous question. That's a great one for interviews, in my personal opinion. And Megan, you're just wonderful in everything you do. But I would say for me, the biggest thing I've learned, I was a copywriter before I was a director, and this holds true to either position, but fail hard and fail fast and own up, be accountable. If you don't know how to do something, let people know, because they will teach you or are way more likely to lend your hand in any capacity if you're honest. And lean onto your team. Self-care, it's a real thing. Get some sleep, drink water, turn off your laptop and Slack every once in a while, and just be able to lean into the chaos.
Yeah, I have something I could maybe add to this one. I totally agree about like leaning on your team. I feel like my team in AHA this year is like, we've been doing a lot of work, and it's like totally helps me that like Nicole was like, yeah, like let me know if you need any copy help or vice versa. And another thing would just like learn how to pivot. Like there's a lot of obstacles that you don't really expect, and you got to learn how to kind of work around it and like move in a different direction. And yeah, that goes along with fail fast and fail hard. Like it's always changing, and just as long as your team is communicating, you're going to be golden.
So quickly speaking for ad team, I think this year was very unique for everyone. Strictly going through this process from an online format, I'm sure AHA like had its experiences too, but it was tough. About it, just to be really transparent with you guys, like probably half the schools in our competition dropped out because they couldn't produce in a online format. And so I think adaptability is one of the really big things that we learned this year, how to adapt our entire strategy halfway through, how to make deadlines and be able to say, oh, this isn't working, like a few weeks before deadline. And so adaptability, I think, was just the biggest thing. And especially working from like an agency sort of setting, that is incredibly useful and something that just comes along with the territory a little bit.
Yeah, I would add, I think kind of similarly, like perseverance and just like keep going, no matter what gets thrown at you. I think Maddie kind of touched on that as well. But just going with the hurdles and getting over them. And then I would also add that just even like remote, I got to know so many more people, and I think just like forming more relationships, not that that's like a skill, but that was just a really unique thing. And like I was constantly in contact with Sam, who I was doing project management this year, and I have not met her in person once, but I feel like I know her so well, which is crazy. So definitely just like getting close to people.
One thing I'll add on to that too, that I've noticed with being an obsessive LinkedIner, is that both of these are great things to have on your resume, because when you say you work for these, one, for ad team, that's a national competition that is incredibly recognized across different agencies you're going to be applying for. They know that ad kids who have done that have really proven their skill, have done a full year long campaign, which is a great asset, and it's really name recognizable. AHA as well, because it's an agency that you work for is on LinkedIn. You can connect with anyone who's previously worked there, and people have gone on to great jobs. So either one helps you network and get in the door and has that name recognition. I personally have had interviews where they said, oh, you're a part of that program, I can skip a few questions. And I'm always like, how did you really? You're going to give me that much credit? But these are awesome things to be a part of, and either one is really going to help you network for further on. So I know it's a little bit more of a practical thing that you get from it, but it definitely helps a lot when you're doing the job application process to be able to already have something to talk to them about, like, oh, you were on ad team, I'm on ad team this year. How was it for you when you competed? Or, oh, you're in AHA, what account were you? Do we still have it? I'm on this one. So both can be really great assets. And I think we had a question in the chat, which people have answered a little bit, but just talking about juggling the roles. So if you guys would want to maybe just speak on how you do juggle your workload within doing ad team and doing AHA.
Yeah, I can go from personal experience. I don't have a part-time job at the moment, but I have like multiple other leadership positions with other clubs and organizations that I hold. And I think really for me, it's just like setting aside like times for doing like each thing, knowing that like this is going to be my ad team time, this is going to be my schoolwork time, this is my other time. And then also like going back to flexibility, having that flexibility for yourself if you have to like switch around those times. But just like knowing what you're doing, and project manager, having my calendar, always helpful. So.
And just to echo like a few things that have been said, like we have empathy for people who are doing multiple things. Like our team wants at like the end of the day to support our teammates. And if someone is like stressed out by like their workload, we want to work with them, not just pile more on. And also, can I go back to what Mo was saying earlier about like real world carrying over a little bit? Because Ad Team is affiliated with the AAF, by joining Ad Team, we pay for your membership to be a member of the American Advertising Federation. So you get emails about conferences, talks, stuff like that. And like I went to a conference with a bunch of other Ad Team people this year and got to talk with people from a ton of different agencies that were recruiters. And yeah, we're also advocating that AHA gets the same membership that we do via their budget. And so the advisors are talking about the feasibility of that.
Kind of going off what both Mo and Marin were just saying, I was curious if for the seniors, how do you guys think being an AHA or ad team has prepared you guys for the professional world and for interviewing and all that jazz?
Immeasurably is like the short answer. So going through the SOJC, we came to a realization partway through the year that a lot of our team members had never really had an experience of a beginning to end ad campaign experience, just because like our classes are so focused on specialties that we don't really get that experience. And so as part of the class, we have a textbook that's a campaigns textbook written by Dave Caranda, partially written by Dave Caranda. But yeah, like immeasurably, like your eyes become so open to the interdisciplinary like approach to what it means to create a holistic campaign beginning to end. So it's a giant learning curve, but you take away so much from the experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll piggyback off of that and echo it in full. Like I said kind of earlier in the call, I think both organizations prepare you inevitably for quite literally anything, and there are only positives to being in either. I think AHA, for me, what it's done professionally has made me a lot more confident in my self-worth and skill set in terms of being able to learn and grow along other people, but also hold my own in an interview or in other spaces outside of the SJC. So definitely been a fit. And on the time management side, I have 2 jobs along with being a director. So it is possible. It ain't easy, but it's possible. So keep your head up, self-care. That's all I gotta say.
I'm going to hop onto that too, because I think this kind of goes to a bigger point that we like to make in After Hours a lot, which is that this program, the SOJC, is as good as it is because of what you can do outside of the classroom. You're going to get a lot from classes, but you are not going to be ready for the real world if you don't take advantage of the opportunities that are out there for you. This doesn't mean just Ad Team and AHA, but After Hours too. We don't have an application process. So you can just show up when you can and still learn, but it definitely just is what gets you to go the extra mile. The classes are great. You learn so much, like are your foundational skills, but you get real world experience. In both of these situations, you get to work with clients, which is something that you will be able to talk about in every interview, no matter what. You get to work with others. You learn how to collaborate, how to team build, you learn how to work on deadlines. Both of these, I mean, I can't speak for ad teams, I haven't been on it, but I have plenty of friends who have, and these are real fucking jobs, people. Like, you are doing it. You are in it. Like this prepares you because it is it. So it has the training wheels, you have the support, and you have so many more people around you that are ready to help you than you will in the real world right away. So this really just prepares you to get out there and go. And I don't think anyone's ever regretted doing anything outside of the classroom, because even if you can't juggle it all and have to let something go for another year or whatever, at least you learned. So I would definitely say like it just prepares you by giving you actual insight and also helping you figure out what you might want to do. Because if you don't like something you're doing in one of these programs, you might want to pivot in it, and then that would pivot what job you're applying for. But if you didn't do one of these, then you might go into that job first and have to find a new job as an adult with more bills and more responsibilities. So you might as well learn now. But that's just my soapbox because I love our program.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to, first off, all three of those answers were spot on. And I just wanted to add one thing I didn't see coming was learning about how to talk about my work. Like I could always make work, but I never really knew how to like conceptualize it in like an interview or like even to a client. But I feel like working in AHA, like now I know like why we came up with that. Like what was the insight, like how, yeah, exactly like Nicole said, how to talk to clients also. Like for Keep this year, our client is like super like young entrepreneur, like loves to like bounce around ideas in the call. And at first it was a bit of a learning curve, and then you kind of learn how to like give and receive and kind of like find the happy medium of the creative idea you're going in and what the client wants. So yeah, talking about your work. It is 5:50. Oh yeah, she's saying.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. It is 5:58, and we normally keep it a quick hour, but if anyone has any last questions, feel free. Now's the time.
No one ever said us Josie kids have math skills. You were so close on that time. I say that with so much love, but agreed.
I do have a question for both sides, because I know that this is something that's a little bit maybe not, there's no really other forum to ask this. So I'm going to ask on behalf of everyone. Are they allowed to reach out to you all? Like, are they allowed to ask for help with applications? I think I already know the answer, but I just wanted to put it out there so that you guys can answer before anyone goes through the trouble of trying to reach out if they can, if they can't, and also maybe wondering if they can't reach out to people who are directly involved, which might be the case. Who can they talk to? Because these applications can be intimidating and we want to get people help.
100%. In the application, there is a upstream email account, which I spent this morning emailing some people back about their application questions. So feel free to reach out. We are also going through a bit of a shift in advisors. So if you have any questions that are really, really specific, like specific kind of logistics questions, feel free to direct those toward Tom McDonald or even David Coranda. And also I'll drop my UO email in the chat too for anyone who has some extra questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And both of these queens are absolutely amazing people. So hit them up, reach out, talk to them about Ad Team. I dropped my email, my LinkedIn. Feel free to connect, talk anytime. Use my network if you want it. I'm here to help answer questions in any capacity. And all of you guys who are applying are going to be amazing. So be confident in yourself.
Yeah, I would just echo what both Maddie and Maren said. Feel free to reach out. I put my email, and then my social medias are just my name. But yeah, I just please apply. Like Mo said earlier, like apply for everything, anything that interests you, and see where it takes you. I've had an amazing year on Ad Team, and I can't wait for next year. So
thank you afterwards.
One more time, and then I promise I'll let everyone go. But one more thing I wanted to add too, just from being a senior and getting ready to leave, is that the people that you're doing these programs with are going to be people you're going to be working with. So having been a part of these different out of the class organizations has given me the opportunity to reach out to people for jobs. Like almost every single agency I look at, I can look down on my LinkedIn connections and see someone I know who works there and send that text and be like, hey, I'm interviewing, or hey, I want to reach out. And having those connections and ducks always answer. Like if I cold call people, maybe not, but I've really never not had an SOGIC person who was in one of these programs not answer because they know the drive, they know the commitment. So even if it seems intimidating, this is a lot of information, it's a lot of work, and it's really fantastic, but it does give you the network of people you're going to be seeing in this industry for the rest of your time because it's a very small industry. So highly recommend making friends, getting out there, just trying it all out.
Sweet. Thank you again, After Hours. Thank you for that. It's been fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. Again, just to echo what everyone's been saying, if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out. We'd absolutely love to hear from you.
Yeah, I know I kind of spazzed on the time. It's actually 5:54, but yeah, thanks for coming out. Hit them up on socials. 25 people, we're getting those numbers up. Yeah, thanks for coming, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.